Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. This is day 9 of Spooktacular Crafts and Makes. Today, we're going to be having some fun with some moon magic. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies we're going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be having some Mystic Moon fun, and we're going to be investigating how to create luminous moons in 2 different ways. I thought we'd start off with something in the junk journal. So there's this really cool moon motif that pops up pretty frequently, and it's one of my favorites for altering right here. So we're going to do a little bit of altering with some distressed pearlescent crayons, and we're going to have to pull in a paper doll as well and some word stickers. So let's go ahead and start. This one is going to be really simple. What we're going to be doing is smudging and coloring. So for this moon, I wanted to go in with some unraveled. That's going to be nice and luminous. And we're just going to take the crayon and smudge it out to give a little bit of tinting on this slick layer surface. So this is from Tim Holtz Idea-ology Halloween, and this is one of these slicker layered surfaces, and the crayon travels beautifully on it. So it's not going to be like an overwhelming pop of color like with Distress Reinkers or Distress Inks, but it's going to be subtle. And for the vintage photo quality of this, subtle is good. All right, so the moon has a bit of tint to it now. Just pick that up. Yep, it's there. And now I want to go in with a little bit of blue. We're going to work our way kind of around the edges. And if I happen to go over a star, not a big deal. I could always grab a paper towel and wipe off the excess crayon. So we're going to try to be pretty careful, just giving the sky a little bit of a blue tint. So I'm just kind of dabbing with my fingers and carefully scribbling that crayon in, because we don't need everything to be blue. We just want the illusion of blue sky in this space. And again, if I go over a star, I can probably smudge it out of the way, or I can go in with a damp paper towel and remove some of the pigment. But so far, not too bad. But we don't really need a ton of pigment to transform this. It's kind of already a really dreamy scene, so we don't need a ton of extra on here. Just want to add that little tint. Very cool. So this is like a really quick and easy way to customize something and make it your own. All right, so I've got blue on my finger, need just a little bit of water, and I can wipe that finger off, and good to go for a lighter color. So the blue was juniper berry, and now for the stars, I want to go in with some harvest moon. And we're just gonna carefully kind of just dab that on, kind of tapping. If it's not perfectly on the star, that's okay. We just want that beautiful yellow color. So it's all right if we're not perfectly neat. Again, just tapping. There we go. And again, really quick and easy for an alteration. And again, this is like something you could definitely do in compartmental making style. Grab a whole bunch of backgrounds or stamped images and just have a coloring night. It's super relaxing and fun and really low stress. And I love coloring in images. It reminds me of coloring in coloring books. Okay. There we go. A little bit there, a little here. All right. We really didn't need a whole lot. So there we go. That takes care of that. We don't really need to add any more color to this. I'm keeping this one pretty simple. We're just playing with some ideas and Hopefully this will be quick and easy things that you too can do when you've got a moment for some crafting. All right, now we have our little paper doll guy. I'm thinking we're going to be using some distress watercolor pencil to give him a very quick alteration. We're going to grab some Villainous Potion, a dash of dried marigold. Oh, what else is good? And a little bit of brown for his shoes, which will be Vintage Photo. So off to the side, I'm just going to spray a tiny drop of water, and I'm going to just dip my Distress watercolor pencil into it, and then I can color. There, it doesn't take a whole lot, just a little bit of tinting. There we go. Pretty easy. And you know what we can do is hair the same color. There. All right, now for the face and hands. We've got our dried marigold. Doesn't take a whole lot. And I love that about the watercolor pencils. Okay, that part is done. Now I just need to add a little bit to his cravat. Let's just zoom in just a hair. And just a dash of purple. Okay, and for him I think we're going to use a couple of foam squares to stick him into the journal spread. Good. And good. And we also want those really cool bat wings. Those are from Tim Holtz Transparencies. I love these. So much fun. Just a little dot of glue. And we can place that right here. Now I'll just take those backings off my foam squares, and we can stick them right into the journal, and then we'll finish off this tiny spread with some stickers. Let's put him right here. Then we'll just straighten his wings. Excellent. Definitely creepy good. All right, so word stickers. I've got this year's Tim Holtz sticker book, and we've got all sorts of cool things. Oh, you know what? He needs a mask. Why not? I've got masks in here. Oh my word, and we could even do a top hat. I hope that fits. It does. Okay, this is making me ridiculously happy. Maybe a little lower. Yeah, like that. There we go. And yeah, I think I still want the mask. Okay, let's slide that mask on. Oh, that is very small. Just scoot that up. Okay, that works. Now for a sentiment. Let's see here. We've got so many different words. Oh, you know what? Let's just go with masquerade. That works. And we'll just put that right here. And there we go. That is our first moonlight art piece today. Definitely fun. Okay, let's clear the deck, and we're going to look at moons in a slightly different way, and we're pulling in some alcohol ink. And we're going to be pairing that with the Stampers Anonymous Moon Mask. I'm very excited about this. Now, fair warning, the mask is going to get a little stained, but we can mitigate that with a little bit of hand sanitizer. So I've got my Yupo paper. I'm going to grab a moon mask. And we're going to place that on here after a small spray of water. The water's just going to help it stay in place on the Yupo paper. There we go. And then we're going to be dripping and dropping some alcohol ink around here. I'm also going to be pulling in the Ranger blower tool. For colors today, we've got Monsoon, Mushroom, Smudge, and Chronicle. I want to go for something mysterious. But first things first, we need our blending solution. So we're going to drizzle that right onto our page, and that's going to help our alcohol ink flow. Now, on the darker colors, we want to go pretty light because we don't want our lighter colors to get overwhelmed. So, ooh, just a, oh boy, that's already more than I wanted, but let's, just a drop or two of Monsoon. It's going to try to take over the page. It is just that dark. Now a little bit of Mushroom. To try to get just a, oh wow, that is trying to pour faster than I want. Okay. So these colors are dripping out a bit faster. I haven't used these in a bit, so I'm going to try to be a little conservative with the color right now. It's already starting to get a mysterious vibe to it. Now we want to go in with some of our lighter colors. These I can definitely be a bit more generous with. That was Smudge, and now I've got Chronicle. Ooh, I like that. That's going to be very interesting. Alright, now we're just going to grab the ink blowing tool and try to gently move this around. I want to get something mysterious, but I don't want to overwhelm everything with just one color. It's definitely going to be interesting. So just very gently trying to get good ink spread here. And if we get a little bit of alcohol ink under the moon mask, it's not going to be a very big deal. Okay, I really like how the darkness is happening right at the edges. That part I really like. So I'm going to try to move some more of that Monsoon up the side. I'm just using really gentle puffs with the blower. We're not doing blood pressure and squeezing the heck out of this. We're just going very light. And I'm hoping that's going to pay off for the way our background looks. So just trying to get that spread. So I'm just going to keep working little puffs of air, and we're trying to get the alcohol inks to dry. Kind of debating about getting more Monsoon in the top corner. I think if I can do a drip. Yeah, there we go. I can spread that out and make that section just a little bit darker. I think we're going to need a little drop of the blending solution as well. Okay, good. Let's see if that won't move. There we go. Now it's starting to do something. Okay, and again, we're just trying to keep things moving. Little puffs of air. I want to get a little bit of texture going. If I could get those ripples, I'd be really happy, but I'm not so good with the hairdryer method. Just trying to get little ripple effects. Okay, I am really happy with the way this background is looking. That's going to be great. We're definitely getting some Mystic Moon vibes. And then we'll have to figure out exactly what we want to do with this once our background is done. Probably we'll turn this into a card of some sort, but the question is, what do we want to put over this? Kind of thinking I want to go the Sizzix route. I've got some really cool die cuts that would kind of look like branches. That could be interesting. And then maybe an owl or a raven. I think I do have an owl around somewhere. Okay. There. Background is done. Since our background is dry, we can now carefully lift up the moon mask. I'm putting a finger in the center, and I'm going to use a fingernail to gently lift. Ooh. And there we go. All right, and the alcohol ink is doing something neat. I do want to encourage that and move that around just a little bit, but I want to keep those edges nice and sharp. That is neat. So just kind of blowing that last little bit of wet ink around, trying to make this look even more moon-like. And I am loving the results that we have. Very cool. With our background complete, let's spice this up a little bit with some Sizzix. I've decided to pull in leafy twigs. This is going to make a really cool overlay for our background. So I did use some double-sided sticky tape because otherwise this would be an absolute pain to even attempt to glue. So we're going to carefully peel off that backing, and then we'll be able to place this down, and it's going to make our card look like the moon is rising out through a wooded thicket. I think that's going to look pretty neat. All right. So we've got our die cut ready. Now we just need to carefully place this down and see what happens. All right, let's start in the corner. There we go. So very carefully placing things. So far, so good. Okay. Ooh, definitely liking the look. That is going to be really good. And just carefully pushing things down. That is working out surprisingly well. Okay. So there we go. We've got our main panel done. Now I need to trim off just a little bit on the side because the die cut didn't quite reach all the way, but not a big deal. That is a very easy thing to trim. There we go. Excellent. I think. Okay. Now I think we've got it. And just a teeny, tiny bit in the opposite direction. Okay. I really do like this. I don't know why. It looks a little bit lopsided to me, but I'm not going to really know unless I put it on the grid mat. Okay. Nope, that is looking to be even. Huh. Okay. Now I want to place that on a sparkling background. I cut down some sparkling craft stock so that we can layer things up. Let's go in with some ATG tape. All right, and we're going to place this down here. I think we're doing really well. Oh, that needs to come down just a hair. There we go. All right. Very mysterious. I like it. And now, let's see. I want to add in our owl here. And I also want to put something going across the base of the card. Do I have a good piece of washi here? I've got all sorts of options. But I think I want to go with this scalloped piece. So if we put that right here, very good. I'm going to tuck the extra bits behind. And then our owl can sit right there. Let's get some collage medium for that. I'm thinking I want this to be a completely flat card. And last but not least, we will need to add a sentiment. All right, we've got our owl. We can put him right here. Ooh, that really works. I'm super happy with this. This is not quite the direction I was expecting this card to take, but I'm really loving where we have ended up. Okay, so for the sentiment, I decided to pull in some everyday sentiments from the Tim Holtz Idea-ology metallic sticker book. And I thought "Love You to the Moon and Back" would be perfect. And we're going to place that right here. Great. And that completes our Mystic Moon card. Let's take a look at what we have made today. Today was exploring moons, and we dove into some junk journaling to alter a moon page, and then we had a chance to make a moon themed card. Here are the two things that we made today. We started by doing some alterations with Distress Mica Crayons, and we created a mysterious masquerade. Then we dove into some alcohol inks, made a moon mask background, and created a kind of shadowy romantic type card. I'm loving how it turned out. So much fun with moons. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some moon making fun. And until next time, happy crafting!